What do you do when you wage war against your own body? Most people stop. Some rest. Babe Ruth did neither. Florida, April 7, 1925. The world's most powerful athlete collapses on a train. Doctors say he is dying. Newspapers write his obituary. But nobody knows the real reason. This was not just a hot dog story. This was a man's war against his own body, uncontrollable appetite, death threat, and afterward, the greatest comeback in history. But let's rewind a little. New York, Yankee Stadium locker room, March 2, 1925. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Spring training starts in 4 days. The locker room smells like leather, sweat, and disinfectant. Metal lockers line the walls. Wooden benches run down the center. Sunlight streams through high windows, cutting through dust particles floating in the air. Babe Ruth sits on a bench, lacing his shoes. He is 30 years old, should be in his prime, should be the picture of athletic perfection. But he is not. He is 256 pounds, 40 pounds heavier than last season. His face is puffy, swollen, dark circles under his eyes. His uniform stretches tight across his belly. The buttons strain. His breathing is labored just from bending down to tie his shoes. Miller Huggins, the Yankees manager, walks in. Tiny man, 5 feet 6 inches, 140 pounds. He looks like a boy standing next to Ruth's bulk. But Huggins has authority. Hired by Colonel Ruppert specifically to control Ruth. To impose discipline, good luck with that. Huggins stops in front of Ruth, stares down at him. Ruth does not look up, keeps tying his shoes. "You gain weight," Huggins says. Not a question, an accusation. "Little bit," Ruth admits, still not looking up. 40 pounds is not a little bit. Ruth finally looks up, grins. That famous Babe Ruth grin, charming, boyish, completely unrepentant. "I had a good winter, Skipper. Enjoyed myself." "You look like you enjoyed yourself too much." Ruth stands, towers over Huggins. "I will work it off, always do. Last year you hit 46 home runs, led the league. This year, if you show up to camp looking like this, I will hit 50, Ruth interrupts. Maybe 60. Huggins wants to believe him, wants to trust that Ruth's natural talent will overcome everything. But he has seen this before. Ruth's pattern, off-season excess, spring training struggle. Then, somehow, miraculously, Ruth finds his swing and dominates. Every year the same cycle. But this year feels different. Ruth looks worse than Huggins has ever seen him. "Get on the train Friday morning," Huggins says. "Be in St. Petersburg Saturday. And Babe? Yeah? Try not to eat the entire dining car on the way down." Ruth laughs. Huggins does not. What Huggins does not know, what nobody knows yet, is what Ruth did all winter. November 1924 through February 1925, 4 months of complete abandon. Ruth's winter routine goes like this. Wake up at noon, eat breakfast, eggs, bacon, steak, potatoes, toast, coffee. Enough food for 3 men. Then go to a speakeasy. Prohibition is in full effect, but Ruth knows every illegal bar in New York. Drink until 6 p.m. Whiskey, mostly, sometimes gin. Then dinner. Prime rib, lobster, more steak, dessert, massive portions. Eat until he cannot move. Then go to another speakeasy. Drink until 3 a.m., sometimes later. Then find a woman or 2. Ruth's reputation with women is almost as famous as his baseball career. Then sleep until noon. Repeat, every single day for 4 months. His body is a temple, and he is burning it to the ground. But Ruth does not care, never has. He lives by a simple philosophy. Life is short. Enjoy everything. Do not deny yourself anything. He tried moderation once, hated it, felt like a prison, so he abandoned it completely. Now he lives without limits, without consequences, or so he thinks. His teammates know about his lifestyle. Some admire it. Most are horrified. How does a man abuse his body so completely and still perform at the highest level? It defies logic, defies biology. But Ruth does it every year until 1925. March 6th, 1925. St. Petersburg, Florida. Yankees spring training camp. The air is hot, humid, smells like salt water, cut grass, and sweat. The training facility is basic. One field, dirt infield, patchy outfield grass. A small wooden clubhouse. No luxuries, just baseball. Ruth arrives 3 days late, steps off the train looking like he has not slept in a week. Probably accurate. His uniform barely fits. The pants split at the seam when he bends to field a ground ball on day one. The clubhouse manager has to sew them. Twice. Huggins watches Ruth struggle through drills. Running bases, Ruth is gasping after 90 feet. Batting practice, his swing is slow, off balance. He hits weak fly balls instead of his usual rockets. Fielding, he cannot bend down properly. Ground balls roll past him. After 3 hours, Ruth collapses on the bench, face red, drenched in sweat, breathing like he just ran a marathon. Huggins walks over, sits next to him. "You cannot do this anymore, Babe." Ruth does not respond, just stares at the ground. "You are 30 years old. Your body cannot take this abuse forever." "I am fine," Ruth says, but his voice is weak, unconvincing. "You are not fine. Look at yourself." Ruth looks down at his belly, sees it hanging over his belt. For the first time in his life, Babe Ruth feels something unfamiliar, shame. But the feeling does not last long. By that evening he is at a local bar, drinking, eating. The cycle continues. April 5th, 1925, Sunday morning, St. Petersburg. Ruth wakes up in a hotel room, does not remember getting there, does not remember last night. Blackout, drunk. Again. His head pounds. His stomach churns. He stumbles to the bathroom. Vomits. Nothing unusual happens most mornings. He showers, dresses, goes down to the hotel restaurant for breakfast. The Yankees are traveling to New York today. Train leaves at 2 p.m. Season opens in 10 days. Ruth needs food. Sits at a table alone. Orders breakfast. The waiter, a young kid, maybe 19 years old, takes his order. "What'll it be, Mr. Ruth?" "Everything," Ruth says. The waiter laughs, thinks Ruth is joking. Ruth is not joking. 6 eggs, scrambled, a pound of bacon, stack of pancakes, hash browns, toast, and bring me a pot of coffee. The waiter's smile fades. "That's a lot of food, sir." "I am a lot of man. Get moving." The food arrives. Ruth eats mechanically, shoveling food into his mouth, not tasting it, just consuming, filling the void. 20 minutes later, the plates are empty, but Ruth is still hungry, always hungry. The waiter comes back. "Anything else, Mr. Ruth? You got hot dogs?" "In the kitchen, yes, but—" "Bring me 6. "With everything." The waiter hesitates. 6 hot dogs? For breakfast?" "You deaf? 6 hot dogs. Now." The hot dogs arrive. Ruth eats all 6 in 10 minutes, washes them down with more coffee, sits back, pats his distended belly. Satisfied. Finally full. But that feeling does not last. By 10 a.m. he is hungry again, eats a sandwich, then another. By noon he has consumed enough food for 4 men. His stomach is grotesquely swollen, tight, painful, but he ignores it. Has a train to catch. 2 p.m., St. Petersburg train station. The Yankees team boards the train to New York. It is a long journey, 2 days, multiple stops. Ruth boards last, struggles up the steps. His stomach still distended from breakfast. He finds his private compartment. The Yankees give Ruth his own space, partly as a perk for their star. partly because nobody wants to share a room with him. He snores, he smells, he is intolerable. Ruth collapses on the bunk. The train lurches forward, starts rolling north. Ruth tries to sleep, cannot. His stomach hurts, really hurts. Sharp pains, cramping. He shifts positions, does not help. The pain intensifies. By 4:00 p.m., Ruth is sweating. Not from heat, from pain. His stomach feels like it is being squeezed in a vice. He stands up, tries to walk it off. The train sways. He stumbles, grabs the wall for support. The pain is worse, much worse. 4:30 p.m. Ruth's vision blurs. The compartment spins. He tries to call for help. His voice comes out as a whisper. He reaches for the door. His legs give out. Babe Ruth, the Sultan of Swat, the Bambino, the most famous athlete in America, collapses on the floor of a moving train, face down, unconscious. His body temperature is 105 degrees. His heart is racing, irregular. Inside his stomach, an ulcer has perforated. Stomach acid is leaking into his abdominal cavity. He is dying. A porter hears the thud, opens Ruth's compartment door, sees the massive man crumpled on the floor, screams for help. Within minutes, the train's conductor, 3 porters, and 2 Yankees players are in the compartment. They try to wake Ruth. He does not respond. Someone checks his pulse. Faint. Erratic. "He is burning up," one of the players says. "We need a doctor. Now." The conductor runs to the telegraph operator, sends an emergency message ahead to the next stop. Asheville, North Carolina. 2 hours away. Ruth needs medical attention immediately, but 2 hours might be too long. The players lift Ruth onto the bunk. He is dead weight. 256 pounds of unconscious muscle and fat. They strip off his jacket, loosen his collar. His face is gray, lips turning blue. His breathing is shallow, raspy. One of the players, Lou Gehrig, young kid, only his 2nd year with the Yankees, stands in the doorway watching. He has never seen anything like this. He thought Babe Ruth was invincible. Turns out, gods can die too. The train races toward Asheville. Ruth does not wake up. His condition worsens. The fever climbs to 106. His body is shutting down, organ by organ, system by system. His liver, damaged by years of alcohol abuse, cannot process the toxins flooding his system. His kidneys are failing. His heart is struggling. At 6:45 p.m., the train pulls into Asheville Station. An ambulance is waiting. Doctors rush onto the train. They assess Ruth quickly. "Get him to the hospital. Now." 4 men carry Ruth off the train on a stretcher. Crowds gather at the station. Word has spread. Babe Ruth collapsed. Babe Ruth is dying. Flashbulbs pop. Reporters shout questions. The ambulance doors close. Siren wailing. Racing through Asheville streets to Mission Hospital. Ruth is carried into the emergency ward. Doctors surround him, taking vitals, starting IVs, trying to stabilize him, but his condition is critical. Dr. William Morrison, the senior physician, examines Ruth's abdomen. It is rigid, distended, signs of internal bleeding. "He needs surgery," Dr. Morrison says. "His stomach is perforated. If we do not operate, he will die." But there is a problem. Ruth is too unstable for surgery. His blood pressure is dangerously low. His heart cannot handle anesthesia in this condition. "We need to stabilize him first," another doctor says. "How long will that take?" "Hours, maybe days, if we can stabilize him at all." They work through the night, pumping Ruth full of fluids, trying to bring down his fever, trying to keep him alive. Ruth remains unconscious, drifting between life and death, unaware that the entire country is waiting for news. April 8, 1925. Morning newspapers across America. Front-page headlines. Babe Ruth collapses. Baseball star near death. Ruth fights for life in North Carolina hospital. The story spreads like wildfire. Radio broadcasts interrupt regular programming, special bulletins. Babe Ruth, America's hero, is dying. The hospital in Asheville is besieged. Reporters camp outside. Fans gather in the street, praying, crying, leaving flowers. The Yankees issue a statement. Babe. Ruth suffered an acute attack of indigestion. He is receiving the best medical care. We are hopeful for his recovery. Indigestion. That is the official story. But reporters dig deeper. They interview the train porter, the players, the restaurant staff in St. Petersburg. A story emerges. Ruth ate 6 hot dogs for breakfast, then collapsed hours later. The press runs with it. Ruth's bellyache heard around the world. Too many hot dogs nearly kill Babe. The hot dog story becomes legend, instant folklore. Babe Ruth, the indestructible slugger, taken down by hot dogs. It is funny, tragic, very American. But the hot dog story is not true, or rather, it is not the whole truth. Yes, Ruth ate hot dogs that morning. But that is not what nearly killed him. What nearly killed him was years of abuse, alcohol, excessive eating, no sleep, no discipline. His body finally said enough. The ulcer was not caused by 6 hot dogs. It was caused by chronic alcohol consumption, by stress, by a lifestyle that treated his body like it was disposable. But the press does not want that story. Too complicated, too dark. The hot dog story is simpler, easier to understand. So that is what they print. And Babe Ruth, unconscious in a hospital bed, becomes a punchline. Before we continue, if you're finding this story as shocking as we did researching it, please hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It helps us bring more untold sports history to light. And drop a comment. Where are you watching from? And here's the real question. Have you ever played baseball, or do you prefer watching the game? Let us know. We read every comment. April 9th, 1925. Ruth is transferred to St. Vincent's Hospital in New York City. The doctors in Asheville stabilized him enough for transport, but he is still critical, still unconscious most of the time. St. Vincent's is better equipped. More specialists. If Ruth is going to survive, it will be here. He is placed in a private room, 4th floor, windows overlooking the city. But Ruth does not see the view. He drifts in and out of consciousness. When he is awake, he is delirious, talking to people who are not there, seeing things that do not exist. The fever is destroying his brain. Dr. Edward King, a specialist in abdominal surgery, examines Ruth. The diagnosis is clear: perforated ulcer, intestinal abscess, possible peritonitis. Ruth needs surgery immediately, but he is still too weak. "We operate tomorrow morning," Dr. King says. If he survives the night. That night, April 9th, is the worst. Ruth's temperature spikes to 107 degrees. His heart stops twice. Doctors revive him both times. By dawn, he is still alive, barely. At 7 a.m., April 10th, they wheel Ruth into surgery. The operation lasts 4 hours. Dr. King opens Ruth's abdomen, finds the perforated ulcer, repairs it, drains the abscess, cleans out the infection. It is extensive. Worse than expected. Ruth's internal organs are damaged. His liver shows signs of cirrhosis. His intestines are inflamed. His stomach lining is eroded. Years of abuse visible in his insides. Dr. King does what he can, closes Ruth up, sends him to recovery. He might survive, Dr. King tells the Yankees management, but his baseball career is probably over. Even if he lives, he will never be the same player. The Yankees do not release that statement. They tell the press, "Surgery successful. Ruth expected to make full recovery." But Ruth does not recover quickly. Days pass. He remains in the hospital, weak, unable to eat solid food, losing weight rapidly. The pounds melt off. 20 pounds, 30, 40. His face becomes gaunt, hollow. He looks like a different man. The Yankees play their opening games without him. They lose, and lose, and lose. Without Ruth, the team collapses. They finish April with a 5-10 record. The press blames Ruth. Ruth's bellyache sinks Yankees. Babe's absence costs team wins. Ruth reads the headlines from his hospital bed. Each one feels like a knife. He did this, his lack of discipline, his refusal to take care of himself. He destroyed the team's season before it even started. And worse, he might have destroyed his own career. For the first time in his life, Babe Ruth faces real consequences. Not from managers, not from owners, from his own body. His body is telling him, "You cannot do this anymore. Stop or die. The choice is yours." May 25th, 1925, 46 days after collapsing. Babe Ruth is finally released from the hospital. He walks out the front door, photographers waiting, flashbulbs exploding. Ruth smiles weakly, waves, but he is not the same man who entered. He is 40 pounds lighter. His face is thin. His eyes are clear for the first time in years. No puffiness, no bloodshot haze. He looks healthy, but also fragile, vulnerable, human. The Yankees welcome him back, but there is tension. Manager Huggins is furious. Ruth's collapse cost the team 40 games. They are already out of contention for the pennant. The season is lost, and it is Ruth's fault. Ruth knows it, feels it. But what can he do except try to come back? June 1st, 1925. Ruth returns to the lineup. First game back. He goes 0 for 4, strikes out twice, looks slow, weak. The crowd boos. The same fans who cheered him last year now turn on him. "Welcome back, Babe," June continues. Ruth struggles. His batting average drops to .246. He hits only 2 home runs all month. Newspapers mock him. Babe Ruth washed up. The Bambino is finished. Ruth reads every article, every insult, and something inside him changes. The old Ruth would have gone to a bar, would have drowned the criticism in whiskey, would have eaten his feelings. But the new Ruth cannot do that. His body will not allow it. The doctors made it very clear. One more episode like April, and he will die. No second chances. So Ruth makes a choice he has never made before in his entire life. He chooses discipline. August 1925. Ruth starts working with a personal trainer, Artie McGovern, a physical fitness expert in New York. McGovern puts Ruth on a strict regimen. Wake up at 7 a.m. every day, no alcohol, healthy meals, lean protein, vegetables, limited carbs, training sessions twice a day, running, weightlifting, flexibility work. Ruth hates it, every minute of it, but he does it because the alternative is death, or worse, mediocrity, and Babe Ruth would rather die than be mediocre. The 1925 season ends. Yankees finish 7th place, their worst finish since Ruth joined the team. Ruth finishes with a .290 average, 25 home runs. Decent numbers for any player, terrible numbers for Babe Ruth. The press writes him off. Ruth's career is over. The Bambino's best days are behind him. Yankees need to find new star. Ruth does not respond to any of it. He just keeps training. All winter, November 1925 through February 1926, Ruth follows McGovern's program religiously. No alcohol, no late nights, no hot dogs, just discipline. His body transforms, the weight comes off. But this time, it is not sickness, it is strength. Muscle replacing fat, speed replacing sluggishness. By spring training 1926, Ruth reports at 212 pounds, lean, Fast, powerful, hungrier than ever. Not for food, for redemption. 1926 season. Babe Ruth explodes. He hits 47 home runs, leads the league, bats, .372, best average of his career, drives in 146 runs. The Yankees win the American League pennant. First time since 1923. Ruth is back. Better than back. He is transcendent. The 1925 collapse was not the end. It was the beginning. The beginning of Ruth learning a lesson he should have learned years earlier. Talent is not enough. Discipline matters. Taking care of your body matters. Limits exist, even for gods. The 1926 World Series, Yankees versus St. Louis Cardinals. Game 4. Ruth hits 3 home runs in one game. Only the second player in history to do it in a World Series. The crowd goes insane. The Babe is back. The Yankees lose the series in 7 games. But Ruth proved his point. He came back from death, came back from humiliation, came back stronger than before. And he never forgot the lesson of 1925. For the rest of his career, Ruth maintained discipline. Not perfect discipline. He still drank occasionally, still ate more than he should, but he never went back to the excess of his early years. Never again pushed his body to the breaking point, because he learned something in that hospital bed, something most people never learn until it is too late. Your body is not invincible. Abuse it and it will break. Respect it, and it will carry you to greatness. The bellyache heard around the world became a punchline, a joke, the story of Babe Ruth eating too many hot dogs. But people who know the truth understand it differently. It was not a bellyache. It was a wake-up call, a confrontation with mortality, a lesson in humility, and the greatest comeback in sports history. Babe Ruth did not just survive 1925, he learned from it and became better because of it.